Hey there folks, Mr. Friend is going to be playing as a Ravener Alpha here today on Fedrid Folly, facing off against the infamous Bruce Campbell. Not really known for his Force Commander play, usually more of a Warlock or an IG kind of player. But Mr. Friend is Seraph, also known as Berry, also known as Feg. He's going to be our Tyranid player here. He is known for his Tyranid play. Ravener Alpha, known for generally being a pain in the booty. Yes, I said booty because I am remembering that we are less than 60 minutes. Oh my god, I don't know what's going on today. Less than 60 seconds into the video, so I need to avoid profanities, or I'm going to have no monetization, but still ads. It's just YouTube will take all the money, which would be terrible. Look, if they're going to force you to watch the ads, I might as well get the money, not Google. They don't need that shit. Oh, profanity. Whoo, I don't know. Was that long enough? Who knows? We'll find out when it gets to the monetization. Damn it, Torpid. God damn it. I really needed that £3. Okay, double Termagant opening for our friend here. Helpful to deal with a Force Commander, but less so when the Force Commander manages to get into melee charge range and you don't even have any DPS going on to him. Seraph at the moment focusing on the scouts with his ranged DPS. Homagants prioritise the attacks as you would expect. Attacks are just soft retreating back to the garrison. Ooh, do they need to? No, they probably don't, because now we have some shotgun scouts. Just get off a pretty good shotgun blast there. Now the Homagant's going to be bleeding some models. Speaking about bleeding models, the Force Commander manages to snag a couple of models off these Termagants. One more off the other Termagant and 3 dead Homagants. And no Space Marines killed, because they're Space Marines, guys. They don't die. Not easily, anyway. An initial gen coming out for Bruce Campbell prior to our friend here getting any. Seraph did node that central contested power. One of the nice things about the Ravener Alpha is you're seeing is his hybrid potential. He is of course a ranged hero, but he's actually pretty decent in melee, to be fair. I think he even has a special attack by default in melee, which is pretty cool. Good to mitigate the cover. Man, pushing it pretty damn close there. Going to be bleeding Termagants as he tries to finish the cap. I guess he wants to try and kill that scout model. Not going to happen. Because again, Space Marines don't die. And they're going to run away and try and cut the side of the map. A bit annoying over here, the Homagants chasing the scouts. But yeah, the scouts can just take the garrisons. No spore mines nearby. No Bab Strangler, so can't really do anything about that. Just going to have to leave. Of course, the scouts will get out then and finish the cap on the contested. Kind of a crazy game so far, given that neither of the natural VPs on this side of Fedrid Folly have even been captured yet. Just no time. Everyone's been fighting in the middle. Bit of a misplay there from Bruce. Spent a bit too long trying to get the decap onto the requisition and ended up getting forced off before he could even finish it. Which is bad. He's now lost a lot of map presence that he of course would have retained if he had the FC still on the field. He could place the FC here and sort of zone out these units to stop them capping. A little bit of miss-micro there from Seraph as he's microing his Homagants over here. Looks like the Homagants got 1 gen for the price of 2 models on the Homagant Brood, which is... no, 3 models on the Homagant Brood. It's definitely worth it for a gen. ASM for Bruce Campbell now. Pretty standard build. 1 shotgun scout, 1 default scout to do the capping. I was going to say we might see the power sword to help deal with the warrior brood with their heavy infantry armor, and indeed we're gonna. Huge increase in DPS against the warriors. I mean, he does what, about 40 DPS melee normally, so he gets 50 DPS power melee with the sword, which is multiplied by 1.3 for being power melee against heavy infantry. So do the maths, it's 40 DPS to 65 DPS. That is over a 50% damage increase for purchasing this weapon against the warriors, and your battle cry now increases the damage that all your allies deal by 15% per special attack rather than 10%. Crazy. And the special attacks that you proc when you use Battle Cry, or when you don't, all of your special attacks with this weapon do way more damage and have more range as well, which is a bit harder to study that. You have to go into the details, the nitty-gritty of the weapon stats. But regardless, focusing him down quite well with the Ravener Alpha right there. Tactical Marine's getting caught out. Hey, look at that! He killed a Space Marine! Knocked him over with his warriors and then ripped that boy to pieces. Now we've got a bit of harassment down here. Shotgun scouts very close range do some good damage. Trying to take down the power node. A little bit odd to be attacking the power node and not the generators. But I guess that's something. One thing that's nice for Bruce actually is, because he attacked the power node, that's actually a building that it doesn't regenerate, like most of the Tyranid buildings. So that's quite nice. If he attacked one of these and he didn't kill it, it'd heal itself over time back to full HP. But the power node won't. It's a bit weird actually now that I think about that, because Tyranids have no way to repair that power node. Whatever. This is looking like a worse engagement here. The ASM of course landing a nice jump on the warriors to disrupt them. Yeah, just so much knockback. This is the mantra of playing Space Marines in Dawn of War 2. Knockback, knockback, knockback. And not losing models and continuing to level up your squads so they scale. Second warrior is now introducing itself, but a little bit late to the action. Needed to be there a bit sooner. Fighting the tactical marines in melee and the ASM is going to be rough. Wow! The special attack proc there actually killed a warrior. By the warriors actually killed attack. That's really nice. Really lucky there from Seraph. That's a great pickup though. That's very expensive for Bruce. The double termagants, of course, dealing with the scouts very quickly, but the ASM, a lot harder to deal with. Their heavy infantry, they've got that little charge where they leap in with their jump packs, as you've just seen there. Makes it hard to kite them, and then their bolt pistols actually do decent damage as well against light infantry, so this is rough. Of course, the downside to the ASM is that they don't really have any anti-garrison, but they denied the garrison there by jumping behind the termagants, in which case they would have pushed them forward. Bought themselves the opportunity to cap this part of the map. Drop pod calling in some more tactical Space Marines. Really heavy tier 1 here from Bruce. But nothing too unconventional against the Tyranids. He's losing models though on his tactical Marines, which is really painful. He's going to need his requisition to start replacing generators. Hormagaunts again, charging onto the gens. Proving to be quite the nuisance. Shotgun scouts will be able to dissuade them. You see Bruce replacing the gen immediately there. Not got enough time to finish the cap on the contested VP there. Very wise of Bruce to retreat straight away with the other warrior brood as well. The last thing he wants right now is to be losing ASM models. 83 requisition to reinforce them, even more than a tactical marine, and you've got to pay a little bit of power. It's really bad. Now, you do expect to be behind in tech when you're fighting the Tyranids. That's quite normal. And it's okay because Tyranids can't get a normal vehicle in tier 2. The worst thing that they can get like that is going for maybe a Tyrant Guard. But that's still only super heavy infantry armor, unless it's in its shield wall, in which case it's a mobile and can't attack. It's not really a big deal. Looks like the Ravener and the Termagants are going to clean up this side, get the double cap. That's the other thing. So you expect to be behind in tech against the Nids, because they just have so many units for so cheap and they're so quick. You also expect to be behind on map control, so... Especially the Ravener Alpha with the tunnels, it's not really surprising so far that we're seeing Seraph being at 478 VPs to the 350 of Bruce. The Space Marines really start to make their comeback as they get into tier 2. They get access to their plasma guns, they can get access to the Merciless Strike on the ASM as soon as they get the Sarge. That basically takes off 80% of the HP of Hormagaunts out of Synapse just on its own. And then they get access to, most importantly, the Razorback, which the Tyranids will really struggle to deal with as long as it's microed correctly, because of course it can easily outmaneuver any of the Tyranid melee, and also outmaneuver the Tyranid Venom Brood. But Seraph is doing a great job here, constantly disengaging with his Hormagaunts, which, after all, they are the highest DPS per pop unit in the entire game. So a little squad that only costs 8 pop is going to do so much damage here to do these gens and take them out very fast. So it's very cost effective to use them for this role. And you see tactical marines coming over to try and dissuade them, but because they're in melee, they're going to take reduced damage from ranged attacks. And you can see it takes the tactical marines a very long time to get rid of them. Especially when they got the adrenal glands giving them more HP and more damage. Seraph was watching, he could have actually gone on to the Tactical Marines a bit sooner, but he's not paying attention because he's looking down. Here we've got the Corrosive Devourer now and the Ravener Alpha. A very good upgrade against any Marine faction. It's kind of a crazy gun, to be honest. 43 DPS plasma. Ooh, Seraph losing his warriors there. Underestimating the spike damage, and the ASM getting into melee here, can't finish off the squad. Homagot's only getting out with one model. Of course, Seraph turned his attention to look at that whilst this fight was going on, and that's why he lost that warrior squad. The other warrior squad is now over here. They've got their adrenal glands, so they're really tanky. Are we seeing any plasma coming out? No, not yet. It'll come with due time. Perhaps Bruce wants his Razorback ASAP. No, the War Gear on the FC either. Sacred Standard feels amazing if you're going to keep him near your plasma attacks, especially in combination with the damage buff stacking that you can get from the Power Sword here. These warriors need to go. Yeah, a lot of damage coming out there with all those melee attacks in retreat. They don't lose a model, but still, they're going to be in base for quite some time now. We've got some harassment over here by scouts, decapping the power. They can't stick around, though. I'm not sure whether Ravener's scared of them. What the hell's going on? Ravener should be able to easily take them on. Looks like the tunnel got destroyed by the scouts here. Ripper's going to chase them off. And the main force here, with the ASM, the Force Commander, and the Plasma Gun Tactical Marines, gonna cap the power. Wow, this is a really aggressive play from Bruce Campbell. Seraph needs to muster his forces and get his power back ASAP. That could be a huge disadvantage for him. Bruce still has 2 gens in his natural, so he's disengaging with the Homagons again, but he needs to get his natural. I don't think he realised that Bruce was capping it. That's really bad for him. And now we've got 2 Plasma Gun attacks, one of which has a Sergeant, the ASM and the Force Commander rotating, and the Shotgun Scouts. These guys have got no chance. The whole Tyranid army needs to get here ASAP. Now we've seen that Berry was purchasing his Tyrant Guard prior to this Zone for Up coming out. Now he swapped it for a Zone for Up. I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess he sees the double plasma attacks and he's like, nah, I don't want to go for a Tyrant Guard. The super heavy infantry of the Tyrant Guard, of course, would be very vulnerable to the plasma damage. I mean, so long as you escort it with enough Rippers, Homagants, Warriors, you should be alright, but I guess only having one Homagant, one Warrior, I don't know. And against this kind of build now, with the main threat of the Tax and the ASM, the Termagants aren't going to scale very well. The Termagants still have a lot of value dealing with the Force Commander. Obviously they counter Scouts. And you've now got 2 Scouts that are fully upgraded as well, with a Sergeant and their Shotguns, so you can see the Termagants do pretty well against them, but you've got to be wary of retreat grenades. Here we go, we've got a grenade coming out now. Looks like it could be juicy. How many? No, only got 3, but we did react in time. But yeah, even when these guys are fully upgraded, even with 2 Termagants, you're going to struggle. I'm not sure if these Termagants have got an Endless Swarm. I don't think so. I feel like they should have more HP than that. But wow, look how long Bruce Campbell has managed to hold on to the damn power for. This is incredible. To make such a ballsy play, really, really quite something. Ripper's trying to take out a drop pod here, taking forever. Wow, Zonefront needs to be careful. Man, Force Commander right on his ass. But Bruce Campbell's somehow still behind in VPs. He does have that 2 to... he had a 2-to-1 cap, but not for long. Warriors taking the contested. Scouts preferring to prioritise requisition right now rather than the VPs. I mean, Bruce probably wants to get his tech lead, get to tier 3. If you can get the Terminators plus Predator out, it's going to be pretty much impossible for Tyranids to beat you there. Unless they have multiple Carnifex. Yeah, ASM easily routing the Termagants there. Kind of cool to see this burrowing Ravener going around. Of course, whilst he's like this, he can't be seen by the ASM of the attacks. You basically treat him as infiltrated. You need a detector. You need the scouts to come around. A little bit weird to be doing the burrowing though when you've got a ranged Ravener Alpha. Be better if he had the acid splatter. Not sure what the plan is here. I guess he's just scouting. Speaking of scouting, scouts are going to get onto the zone for open, dissuade him with some close range shotgun attacks. Rippers and Hormers onto the tactical marines there. They're going to do some very good damage actually with the support of the Termagants. Now the Termagants can rotate and deal with the scouts, I guess. Yeah. There's just not enough units here really. So I mean, if you muster the entire Nid roster, you can do well. But Berry kept fighting in engagements where he was isolated with a numerical disadvantage against Space Marines, which is the last thing you want. You know, if you're playing Tyranids, you ought to have the numerical advantage against Space Marines, not the disadvantage. You see here the scouts are detecting that Ravener Alpha. Still managed to disrupt them though with their burrow. And this is a lot of range DPS coming out now. We've got the Termagants and that Corrosive Devourer. Ooh, eats a grenade point blank basically. I don't know why he's burrowing right now when these guys can detect him. That seems a bit weird. Needs to be very careful. Okay. He does get the disruption, but yeah, there's a Dreadnought here, and there's no AV right now for Berry. Well, he's got the ability here, the corrosive shots from the Devourer, which increases, as you can see, the damage against vehicles by 250%. That sounds insane, but the actual damage against vehicles isn't that good, because it's only a plasma gun, right? So it only makes it an okay AV weapon temporarily. Oh wow, and it's got an assault cannon. Well, yeah, he's going to need some more melee threats. I really feel like having the Acid Splatter would have worked out for him better here, but we'll see. He's getting a Tyrant Guard now, that will help. A bit optimistic there on the Assault Cannon Barrage. I mean, he gets 2 Termagants, but that doesn't really feel like it's worth it when that ability can wipe armies. Never mind individual squads. Using it for 2 Termagants is not great. Here comes the Tyrant Guard. Now, the interesting thing with that Assault Cannon, obviously, as I just mentioned, the Assault Cannon Barrage is extremely terrifying for the blobby squads of the Tyranids, but you opt for that weapon. It's only a piercing weapon, so it can't really do anything to the Tyrant Guard at range, and you lose your melee resist. So the Tyrant Guard will easily beat the Assault Cannon Dreadnought in a 1v1 melee fight, even without Synapse for the Tyrant Guard. But of course, the problem is the Tyrant Guard is very slow. And the Tyrant Guard has to contend with all the supporting elements here of the Space Marines. The Plasma Guns are going to output a lot of damage to the Tyrant Guard. So if he's going to be engaging the Dreadnought with the Tyrant Guard, and there's Plasma nearby, he needs to make sure he's got a little escort with Rippers to tie up the Plasma. Now let's see, you've got a Melter Bomb coming in there from the ASM. Going to do a little bit of spike damage onto the Tyrant Guard. Wow, look at the Termagants they're getting out with literally 10 HP. And here comes the double tactical marines with a plasma. That's going to really hurt. They've had their damage buffed by the Battlecry Force Commander with his power sword. This is rough, but at least he saved his charge for disengaging, which is pretty smart. And he is in Synapse right now, the Tyrant Guard. Doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of backlash. So that Synapse is going to be useful to buff the Tyrant Guard's speed. Without the Synapse, he moves very, very slowly. Tactical Space Marines basically just bullying at this point. There's not really any proper counter to them. The Zonthrope will do some okay chip damage. Not when the Zonthrope's firing at the Force Commander. Definitely should be firing at the Marines. Zonthrope, of course, has AoE damage, so you don't want to be using it against heroes. You want to use it against the biggest enemy squads possible. So Berry has gone for tier 3. Bruce Campbell, I don't know where his resources have gone, to be honest. I mean, he did flesh out both of these. He got that. No Sacred Standard. He went for Teleport back. I definitely would have gone Sacred Standard. He's going for the Armor of Alacrity now for a passive speed boost and the Sprint ability for a larger active speed boost. Perhaps wants to try and use that to hunt down the Zonthrope, teleport after it, and then sprint after it when it retreats. It would definitely put more pressure on the Zonthrope. Perhaps soften it up with your Assault Cannon, which is quite a long-range weapon. I'm not sure what's going on here. Just the Warriors, the Tyrant Guard, and the Zonthrope engaging seems a bit optimistic. Where are the Shotgun Blasts? Kind of messes up the Shotgun Blast. The Warriors were already in melee, so they don't get properly knocked over. And they shall know no fear activated on the Tactical Marines as well. going to deter the warriors. Tyrant Guard, I don't know what it's doing. Oh, it's tying up the plasma attacks. I see. Dreadnought needs to just force melee on the Tyrant Guard. The Tyrant Guard isn't actually trying to duel the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought will do way more damage to it with its claw than shooting it with that piercing damage assault cannon. Has he got the heal on the zone front? No, he doesn't. The Tyrant Guard's screwed. Doesn't have the energy for its shield wall. Slain by the plasma. A story as old as time. Now the Homogants and Termagants did do well over here. They killed the scout squad. That was obviously a lot more forces than needed to deal with an isolated scout squad. So a bit of a miss micro there from Bruce. But yeah, I mean, Berry lost his Tyrant Guard, which is honestly a bigger deal than the scout squad right now because there's nothing to deal with this Dreadnought. He's going for a Carnifex, which obviously will do great, but I'm worried about the time for Berry. He should... Okay, he gets the decap. I was going to say the Dreadnought will lose line of sight, but all it had to do is walk up anyway to finish off the Ravener. Alright, well he's bought himself enough time right now to be able to get the Carnifex because there's no infantry over here to be able to take the point. In fact, the Dreadnought right now is backing off because... I don't know, it realizes it's isolated, I guess, and doesn't want to get hit by some melee. So Berry's got time. I suppose at this point he needs to just camp both of these VPs and send occasional squads down here, maybe Homogants or something like that, I don't know. Slightly missed that assault cannon barrage. I guess it needed to be a little bit further back, like here, not here. Formback Carnifex will be amazing right now. Be practically unkillable. Of course, the advantage of the Formback Carnifex is that it's vehicle armor, so those plasma guns don't really do anything to it. A big difference from the Tyrant Guard. Also, it will have more HP. Oh my god, how did that thing get so low? Jesus Christ. Way more HP than the similar walkers from other factions. Obviously justifying its tier 3 existence, but it's not a Formback yet, it's just a default Carnifex, so not that big of a deal. A bit of a weird Tyranid formation there. Oh my god, and it hits his own Homogants. Very strange. Does buff the speed of his infantry, as well as giving some stat boost nearby. I always forget what the tier 3 Cavalry towers give in terms of stat boost, but you can see these Termagants are moving a lot faster now because of that global. So at least it lets them catch up. Yeah, he's going for the Formback. But Bruce Campbell's tier 3 as well, and Bruce Campbell's now got some Vanguard, so they're going to be just incredibly hard to deal with. I really feel like a more melee-focused Ravener Alpha would have done better here. I don't really feel like the plasma damage ranged weapon from the Corrosive Devourers contributed that much. You know, if you go hardened Chitin rather than hardened Carapace, you can get knockback immunity. Makes you very good in melee. Add the Acid Splatter. You can put some real pressure on the Vanguard. Well, I guess hiding in the garrison. I forgot the Ravener can take garrisons now. That is nice for him. I don't know how he shuts the door when he's a snake, but sure. Burrow and retreat to get the instant knockback as you retreat. He's not paying attention. Oh, okay, you got it. There you go. Force Commander did go down over here against the Homogants and such. No missile launchers, still just plasma, but I mean, the plasma does add up eventually, especially with the base turrets. It's not a lot of damage, but it does add up. We've got Symbiosis coming down for the zone for up. That can heal the Carnifex, but it needs to keep the zone for up back. It's getting focused by the Assault Cannon Dreadnought right now. Yeah, you need to tie that thing up with your farm back, but it has fire in the move, right? So, oh man, that's really annoying. He's just had his zone for up forced off when that thing is the thing that should be healing the Carnifex on the field. Is this Assault Terminators now? It is. That's problematic. Carnifex nearly killed the Dreadnought though. I don't know if it's going to be able to. Ripper's slain by the Tactical Marines eventually. 2 more hits to kill the Dreadnought? I think the Dreadnought's dead. Yeah, he gets the Dreadnought. Nice sync kill. That must feel good, but he's now very isolated. Probably needs to charge out. He should have charge, right? Didn't use it? No. That's good. He yeets those Terminators away, and he gets out. Cool. The Zone Thrope's coming back out from the base. Gotta get him into play. Where is Termagants? Oh, the Termagants are retreating. I guess they got ambushed by the scouts or something. I don't know, that feels like a bit of a misplay. It shouldn't really be necessary to retreat both those Termagants there just against attacks and scouts. Certainly not without first forcing off the scouts. And those scouts are going to be prioritising the natural VP of Berry. Homer got some worries of me going down the other side. They managed to take the contested VP here. Killed a couple of Vanguard veterans who have reinforced and come back onto the field. Carnifex is still causing so many problems, but it is slowly being chipped away for the Emperor here on the plasma guns, making them do even more damage. Have we got a Power Fist on the Vanguard? No, I don't think so. Oh, fucking hell, they're jumping around, I can't see. No, we've got the Thunder Hammer. 2 Power Swords, a Lightning Claw, and a Thunder Hammer. Again, a lot of power melee, but not really a tool to deal with the farm-back Carnifex. Neurothrup was the next purchase. This Paroxysm ability does percentage-based damage with a modifier to increase that percentage against super heavy infantry. So in terms of damage, it will actually take down the Terminators quite fast over time, but in a single engagement, it's not just going to rip them to pieces. This feels like a bit of a misplayed, mistimed engagement. Yeah, Warriors and Hormagaunts engaging too early there before the support can catch up. You can see the Carnifex got a bit of a heal from the Zone Thrope there. Whilst it's in proximity to the Zone Thrope, it will benefit from the Zone Thrope's HP regen aura. So that's a way to kind of heal it on the field. Oh my god, special attack from the Thunder Hammer. Terminator's yeeting the Neurothrope. He's trying to do the burrow to knock back Terminators, but they don't care about that. They do care about special attacks from a Carnifex though, that will knock them over. So you can see with the HP regen from the Zone Thrope as well as the melee resist, the Carnifex not really taking that much damage even from the heavy melee Thunder Hammers of the Assault Terminators. The Vanguard going to come down here and cap, I guess. Oh, Berry's screwed. Yeah, he's got no VPs, he can't take this side. The scouts came back and reclaimed it. I don't know about the Neuro, probably should have saved up for another Carnifex. I don't know how long that would have taken. Clearly it was the Carnifex that was the winner here, and Bruce actually was bleeding so many models that he couldn't get a Predator out, which would of course be the counter to these big, tough melee Carnifexes. Get a Predator out, which is a lot faster than them. Give it a twin-linked las cannon and you can tear them to pieces quite easily. Pretty close game in the end though. Nice to see some Nids. The two undisputed strongest factions at the moment in 1v1. Bashing heads is always fun. Hope you did enjoy that one, folks. If you want more of this kind of content, you know where to find it out. Just check out my Patreon. Over 40 high-level casts on there. If you enjoy the content, please leave a comment down below and boost us in the algorithm so we continue to grow. That's going to be all from your boy Torpid. This time, I am signing out.